welcome to Audio Addiction. We have Smoke from All the Friction. I'm pretty sure I got that right. He can say his name and what he does in the band.
Hey, what's up? I'm Cam. Like I said, I play for a band called Smoke from All the Friction, and this is kind of my baby project. So I do a whole lot of roles in there: producer, singer, a lot of instruments too.
Awesome. So my first question, Cam, I ask this to every band: how did you start out Smoke from All the Friction, and how'd you get your other member?
Sure. So whatever band you play in, you end up writing a bunch of music for the band that you're not in. So you end up having this catalog of stuff, and I think that's just how it works. And I had a couple of extra songs in some genres that I'd never really explored, and so that was kind of the starting place. So I had a couple of templates of songs that I feel like I built on, and it actually started off this phrase that I've said a number of times, and a bunch of other people I've said a number of times, is pop music is only 4 chords. It's easy. And so I was like, and for some reason something dawned on me. I was like, well, if it's so easy, then you write it yourself. So that's kind of been my approach: is how can I make music that meets people where they are, so it has the accessibility of pop music, but doesn't have the pandery corporatist trying to sell you something thing, and also pushes you a little bit, because pop music's kind of designed for 14-year-old girls, and so that's nice. It's like vanilla ice cream. It's not a problem, but that's just how it is. And so you listen to music long enough, you start getting into pretty niche or weird stuff. And the only way you were able to get there is because you had a couple of bands. I call them gateway bands, that they played the path and were part of that journey to get you to where you were trying to get to. So I'm trying to be a gateway band to meet people where they are, and kind of. So I'm playing some songs that are a little bit not quite pandery, but meet you where you are. But then there's some music that's gonna be a little bit too much for you. Because a good friend, I feel like meets you where you are and then pushes you to be better.
That's awesome. Because I hadn't known about your band. That's usually how it goes most of the time, unless it's a band that I generally go after because it interests me. But I always love hearing kind of the anthology of bands. I think that's always something that I've enjoyed, whether or not I've been doing this or just been a fan of a band. It's always kind of cool to hear the perspective of where they come from, what drives them to make music. And I'm glad that pop happens to be that avenue. Were you in bands that I feel like you were in maybe heavier bands growing up prior? So
yeah,
I feel like that's something we could assimilate
angry white
on.
kid for a while there. Yeah, well, so I mean, I was how old are you ish?
I'm 25.
Okay, yeah, well, so it kind of caught the tail end of that Warped Tour era of pop punk. It was kind of became a national phenomenon. So definitely those were the rock stars of my childhood in high school and college. And so I learned a lot from them. They were able to kind of got me inspired originally. But a lot of those guys, as I dug into them, I would read an interview of them and was like, wow, I liked your music until I heard about you as a person.
Yeah.
And then I would also meet these other artists that would be I wouldn't necessarily love their music until I was able to hear them talk about it and explain it. It's kind of like a lot of visual art, like a painting or something. I don't really understand it. I'm like, okay, it looks cool. But if I had the artist there, it's hey, this is why I used the color purple here to symbolize blah, blah, blah. But I was like, oh, okay, this is an awesome painting now. And so I'm trying to kind of be in between those two things. So make music that doesn't require a frame, but if you have a frame, there's a lot of depth to be found there.
Yeah, so you're kind of you were saying earlier, the median or the gateway band. And so I just from just talking now, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that I'll like about your band and your type of music, is because for me, that's like you said, we grew up in the same sort of era of Warped Tour music, and I still love that music to death, and I listen to it regularly as well. But I think it's really cool that I think, for me, as somebody who isn't an artist, I think it's cool to see somebody push themselves and try something different, and maybe go for a different viewpoint, as opposed to just letting it go. I also agree with you in that same stance of there's some depth to be found with bands, and I'm sure there's tons of bands that are heavier that are out there that have a ton of depth to them, but it's cool that you're bringing that sort of mentality of pop, for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's part of something I talk about a lot or feel strongly is the responsibility. If you want to call yourself an artist, you get a lot of benefits. There's the trope of the rock star or whatever, but there's limits to it. But I think there's also a lot of responsibility that we ought to assume. Like there's a lot of things that we have the power to do, and I think we don't use that power or spend enough time to develop ourselves to be able to use that power very well.
Awesome, awesome. Well, my next question may not be as heavy as the first that we talked about, but what are some favorite venues you guys like to play at or catch a show at in your free time?
So I'm based out of Raleigh, North Carolina, and probably my favorite venue right now in here is it's a place called Emerge with a I-J. So it almost has no other. It's completely misspelled. It's IMURJ. But and the reason is that I mean I've gone to a fair amount of venues, but the people that work there really are into creating an art scene both in themselves and in the community around. Like I played my last album release I did there. And we came up to them and was like, hey, can we do like some like special cocktails? They're like, sure. And they just designed cocktails just for the night based on my band name. It's like they want to be part of what you're creating. They want to have like their own like form of expression with what you're doing, as opposed to I feel like most venues I go to, the staff kind of tolerate you, and so I feel like they're also trying to figure out what it means to be a venue in 2019, and so they do some cool stuff like they have jam nights, which is basically like every 15 minutes you just sign up for an instrument and you get to jam with just random people all night. So that allows like especially like young kids who are trying to like meet musicians or kind of practice their chops or learn how to do this stuff in a really like low risk environment. I think it's a really really cool way to like a modern mindset on that.
Yeah, and you're building a community of people that love music and will go out and support artists, whether or not like it's somebody that you met through the jam band or that you've seen posters of and they're coming through in your city. So I like that approach. May or may not be moving down to that area in a couple months. So
Oh, really?
It's a good point. But my next question, Cam, another fun one. What was the last show that you attended?
That wasn't my own.
That wasn't your own, yeah.
Oh man, actually,
Couldn't give you the easy way out, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I go to a fair amount of local shows, but let me see. Like I'll give you the last show that I thought was really interesting.
Okay.
How about that?
Yeah, I like that.
So this actually was a local show because I mean the majority of shows I go to, it's like the band plays, and that's cool. And if it's a local show, it usually means a mediocre to bad band plays. That's usually how the experience is. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
And there's this band. They're based out of North Carolina with me, and they're called the Pseudo Cowboys. And they did a music video release. I was like, okay, cool. Like I know that some of those guys, and they invited me. But they're the only band on the bill. I'm like, okay, that's a little weird. And they had food there, and they chopped their setup into like 2 40-minute sets because they figured after 40 minutes you're kind of bored. Because that's just be real. I was like, okay, that makes sense. And what they did on the first song, they actually had like a live ballet like dancers. They actually like blocked off the like right in front of the stage, like, and they had a ballet people in their music video that choreographed it, and they actually had them do it live there.
Oh, wow.
And basically, there's just a lot of subtle touches of what this band was trying to figure out what it means to be a performing group in 2019. And the show was free, and basically they wanted you to sign up for them on Patreon. Which, like from the YouTube gaming community, that's super normal, but you don't really see that in the music community, and that's not normalized. They're like, we'll get you into the door because it's free, and there's food and these other incentives, but we're trying to like incentivize us, get you to be part of what we're doing here, because Patreon or things like that allow to have a far more communal experience online, because there's a lot of back and forth, there's incentives for giving money, and there's like you can have involvement like creating polls or content or whatever. I thought that was a really interesting way of like, did it work? I don't know. I didn't ask them about their financials after the show, but I thought that was a really creative approach from an artistic standpoint.
That's really neat, and I think that's a first for me too. Just kind of hearing it, that would be quite the task, and I think with a lot of bands, I always see like if your band's like a business, like you should be putting into it, and so I feel like that is a great example of like if you care about it and you want to succeed, like put what you have into it, and you'll probably get great results. So hopefully they did. I know Patreon's really cool too, and I don't want to self-plug myself, so I won't say it, but definitely.
Now get it out. Let's do this.
Well, go check out our Patreon if you want to. Please support. If not, there's merch. Please pick up that. That's more important. At least you're giving me some money, and you're getting something cool in return. So, if you want to plug your thing,
you need a sweet logo. So
Thank you, thank you, Cam. If you want to plug your
Um,
merch store,
most of my
go ahead.
I have minimal merch because I haven't figured out a way, authentic and honest way to sell it yet. So I'm like, I'm not gonna do that yet. So, but all music's on Spotify and Google Music and iTunes and all over the world. So
Go support it then. Go pick that up. That's go listen to it. Go stream it. Go do that thing. But
get my
getting back.
10-cent check in the mail from it.
Awesome. So my next question, Cam, the most important one. Tell them about your musical influences. Who do you draw from?
Sure. So if I had, I'd say the people that affected me most deeply were Nine Inch Nails, like Trent Reznor. Just
Yeah.
his like a complete, both musically and his. He was able to kind of like do what I'm trying to do in some ways. He was able to take a very obscure genre, which was industrial, completely inaccessible, and be able to chart with that and introduced me and a bunch of other people to the genre that we would have never been able to approach directly. So Nine Inch Nails. A guy named Devin Townsend from he was used to be in a metal band called Strapping Young Lad, but then been doing solo stuff after that. It's like kind of progressive metal kind of stuff. But what really influences me heavily about him is that first of all he does almost everything himself. Like he has a band that plays with him live, but he mostly writes and does all the production himself. And he takes he makes very good metal while making fun of metal the entire time, and like makes fun of his like, oh, I'm gonna play this heavy part that's super technical and complicated because I'm insecure and I learned how to do this in high school because I didn't have a girlfriend. But he was able to like kind of bring these like more serious spiritual issues into it because he's very like entertaining and funny. And so again, he's introducing people and giving people permission, the metal world, to examine Eastern spirituality or whatever. Like, and anybody can be that gateway. Like, is very influential to me. Lately, I'd say Bring Me the Horizon has been influential. Because they are a band that has gone from deathcore to I'd say basically minor key pop at this point.
Yeah. Yep.
But they're trying to, and they've risen to fame along with that. But I think they've done it. It's been interesting to see that band stay together as much as they have and try evolution and experiment in a lot of ways. So.
I 100% agree with that. Go check out Amo. I'm, no pun intended, in love with that record. It's so like diverse, so unique, and I know a lot of people are on the fence about it because like if you're an OG fan, you're like, man, where's Suicide Seasons? Where's the
guitar?
But it's awesome. I love it. I've literally been jamming it for like the past couple days, so I'm a big fan of that. But I love all your influences. Devin Townsend, I feel like doesn't get enough love, so definitely go check out his stuff too. But cool mix of things that I kind of expected and kind of didn't expect. So I like that, Cam. But my next question is another fun one. If you could pick a song to cover, what would it be?
That I haven't already covered?
Preferably.
In my dream world, it actually would probably be Closer by Nine Inch Nails. I think I refuse to say that many F words live, so I would never do that. But in theory, and I definitely don't have enough of a tortured soul to pull that off. But in my head, I think it would be a cool song to cover.
Good one. I definitely am about that one. Maybe you could tone it down a little bit, but it'd be the same thing. But
it's in the chorus, so I'm like, I don't think I could censor this and get away with it.
My next question, Cam, keep hitting you with the fun questions. Favorite food to eat?
All right, so yeah, I have a long answer for everything. I'm sorry, but
No,
a while back,
that's a good thing.
I did a diet called the ketogenic diet, which is basically where you eat almost no carbs, so like less than 20 grams of carbs. You eat just a hell of a lot of fat, like a lot. So it's like 100 plus grams of fat and 20 less grams of carbs, and it puts you in the state called ketosis. And I was like super skeptical because you eat a lot of like you can basically eat as much bacon as you want and like hamburger as you want, just no bread, rice, and everything. And after doing that for like on 6 months to a year, I was like, I feel amazing. And basically, and it's kind of ruined food for me because I just got so used to like how am I having that much energy. So basically, what I like to eat now is like a hamburger patty, like, and with cheese on it and Brussels sprouts. That's actually like one of my favorite meals ever. It's super boring, but it just makes me feel, it gives me like a bunch of energy and doesn't weigh me down with like a lot of like bread and heavy stuff.
I'll have to consider it. Anything that's a diet with bacon forefront.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like,
This is what sold me. They said like, all right, imagine this. Okay, you're feeling weak. You're like, all right, I'm just gonna do this one cheat meal. He's like, all right, you're gonna take this big old hamburger patty. You're gonna cover it in cheese. You're gonna cover it in bacon. He's like, oh wait, that's every day. That's not your cheat day. You get to have this every day. I was like, fine, you won me over.
awesome, awesome. Next question, Cam. Getting back to more of the musical related questions. If you could pick somebody to collaborate with, whether it be a guest vocalist on your next record or a producer you'd like to work with in the future, who would it be?
Ooh, I'll give you a vague answer and then a specific answer. Um, so the band name "Smoke from All the Friction" is so friction is an energy that's created when two forces come together, and that energy they wouldn't have created otherwise. Obviously, friction's typically viewed as a negative thing, but it's not always. Like when you're really cold, rub your hands together, and that like makes you feel better. And so part of this experiment, and both personally and musically, is I'm trying to intentionally put forces that force me to create energy in things that I would never create otherwise. And sometimes that's just working with another person. Sometimes that like I have to use this synthesizer on this song, or this song has to feel purple, you know? Or like I intentionally put this energy that forces me to reconsider and make me end up in places that I wouldn't. So the vague answer is any energy that will make me create something that I wouldn't be able to create that is beautiful. That's who I want to work with. Otherwise, like, there's a guy who actually works with Trent Reznor a lot. His name is Atticus Ross.
Okay.
He does like a lot of like the behind the scenes stuff. Like whenever you see Trent Reznor doing a soundtrack, it's Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. And I feel like somebody like Atticus Ross I would work really well with because he's able to he's extremely detail oriented, and so he's able to take these high level like manic things that I do. I'm like, let's do this, and combine this, and actually get all the details that I kind of skip over in the bigger picture, and kind of trying to get things to the end a little too quickly. So obscure, like reference there.
Awesome. Love both answers. I think I like the vague answer a little bit more. That's that's a first for me, and I definitely hope that maybe other people take that sort of thing into consideration when they're creating. But my next question is, play a lot of instruments, but if there's one that you could be super talented at, what would it be?
Vocals, definitely. So I mean, part of that is maybe it's the one I struggle with the most because it's the one I learned the latest. But I think part of it is you're able to connect with people so quickly with vocals. It's just kind of that universal instrument. Like I put a lot of effort and time into learning how to design sound, and just thousands of hours creating these cool synth sounds that are super beautiful, but they're also a little hard to get into if you're not used to it. And so, like, and a fantastic singer is extremely accessible and allows you to connect with people very quickly. So
awesome. Next question.
Oh, and the hurdy-gurdy, I think that's cool too.
What is the hurdy-gurdy? You have to explain.
It's just like it's like this cranked, like it's not an Irish instrument, I think.
Okay.
I guess I think like Celtic, like mountains and Braveheart kind of stuff.
I'll have to put.
It's not a practical instrument at all.
I'm putting I'm gonna put a photo up and post somewhere. It's gonna be floating around the screen, but.
Just leave it there the whole time.
I will. Just from now until the end of the interview is going to be on the screen. But my next question, Cam, I'm a huge nerd, so I always love asking this question. If you could be a video game character, who would you be?
Like in the narrative?
It doesn't matter. Narrative, you could...
Oh, Geralt of Rivia, sorry. Geralt, for sure. From the Witcher series.
Beautiful. I love that. Great
like,
gaming series.
He's just the ultimate, like he has to deal with his conscience, and he has to deal with his morals, and he's dealt with things, and he gets to hang out with beautiful women and kill monsters, and he's complex and has a lot of layers to him, but he's also, violent. So
that's a good answer. I like the explanation. But my next one is getting back to more music related questions, because that's what we're all here for. If you could compile a dream tour, who would be on it?
I mean, for me to play with or me to watch?
I mean, come on. If we're doing a dream tour, you got to be on it. I feel like that would
Okay,
make the most
I feel like
sense.
I'm not worthy I would say like I watched Tool in 2011, and that was the most. That was just a weird concert because like it was. I just escaped. It was like I was on drugs or something. I wasn't at all. 0%. I was there. It was like a spiritual experience. Like I was just. So honestly, to get, I would go be fine seeing Tool for 3 hours by themselves. Would be a super fantastic tour to me.
It's just you and Tool.
Oh, I wouldn't want to play it. I'd open up for Tool. Just
Okay.
I could do that.
There you
Yeah,
go.
they
See,
usually have like
you
a
gotta
weird
give
band
yourself a
open up
little
for them
credit, you know? Come on, bud.
because nobody's there for the open band anyway, and they always usually pick some weird band to open for them just to like to troll people. So
Hey, give yourselves a little bit more credit here. We're all about positive influence here. So.
just keeping it real.
My next
Hashtag
question.
hurdy gurdy.
My next question, Cam, kind of in relation to Dream Tour, what is one of the best bands that you've seen live? Maybe excluding Tool in this case.
Um, I will say like this is I'm not the biggest fan of them, but Rob Zombie was one of the most fun show I've ever seen. Like it was just he just had like just TV like huge TV screens just everywhere, and you just I mean he's like all scary music, but at the same time it was just a really great time. It was just a great show. I had so much fun watching Rob Zombie.
Was it the most recent tour that I think he did?
It was like 2012
It
or
was a while
13
ago.
or something. But yeah, but it was super great. Like strangely, as far as best sounding band, I didn't know you didn't ask that. It was again, this is not my thing at all, but like Megadeth sounds so good live. Like I'm not even a big thrash music fan, but like God, they sound so good. Just like so much better than their albums. So
There we go. There we go. Well, you have, Megadeth. Maybe something could happen there. But anyway,
yeah.
next question, Cam. Favorite TV show, favorite movie?
So my favorite TV show for a long time has been Battlestar Galactica because it's recently been usurped. It's been Battlestar Galactica for about 10 years, which changed this year or 2018. It's a show called *Halt and Catch Fire*.
Okay.
It's a very dark. It's not dark in the sense of like there's like darkness, but it's just the darkness and depravity of when humans get pushed to their brink. So to me, like as like they have these energies that are causing them to create frictions that they never would have created. And there's these they're pushing so hard on each other, and to the point where like they're learning so much about themselves on a consistent basis. And I think that's like a really interesting show and very thought provoking for me. His favorite movie. This is complete heresy, but is The Matrix Reloaded, the second one, the one that everybody says. I know, like I'm the only person on the entire planet. It's like I'm not even. I can't even give a defensible thing, but that movie just like it takes me away. I feel like I'm in a different place. Like I forget I'm in this plane when I watch that movie.
I feel that. I feel that a little bit. I also,
It's completely horrific.
my heart goes out to the comment section for you if somebody decides to make some comments about you liking
Yeah.
Matrix Reloaded too. But I'll stick up for you. I'll make sure it's all gravy at the end of it. But my next question, Cam, if you're trapped on a desert island for the next month and there was one album that you could bring with you, what would it be?
So there's this band called Hammock. I think it's just one guy, and it's this like spacey, like I guess it's sort of guitar-y music, but it's really just like thick, heavy ambient music. And any of his albums are just these beautiful things that just take you to. It's like the soundtrack to heaven almost. And either that or Inya's Watermark.
Ooh, okay.
That album is just so. It feels like every note she sings seems happy, but you just feel sad. So it's this weird complex of like melancholy and forlorn kind of feels all the time. So
Tell you, I like both answers a lot. Hammock is sick, so glad they're getting some love. But
they're
the
so good.
the last thing, Cam, the most important thing, tell them about your band, where they can find you at, and anything coming up in the next couple months.
Sure. So we are super active on Instagram and Facebook, and that super long band title is "Smoke from All the Friction." And yeah, like I said, the best way is just check our Facebook. We play a fair amount of shows, so that's the best place to go. Yeah, definitely like love to talk to you guys. If you message on there, I will definitely hit you up. As far as music goes, our last album, Transients, is on iTunes, Google Music, Tidal, whatever that one's called. It's basically on all of the ones. And we definitely we got a new album dropping. We don't have a release date, but it'll be in the next couple of months. We're finishing up pre-production on that, so we're super excited about that one.
Awesome. Well, go check out Smoke from All the Friction. Links are in the description where you can find out about their band, music, tour dates, everything. Please go check them out. I know that they had emailed me a little bit ago, so I'm sorry that it took so long for us to arrange. But go check them out. If you enjoyed this interview, share it, like it, subscribe. It goes a long way. And thanks to Cam for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time, man. Definitely.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.